The humid Cambodian air now reeks of smoke and fear. What was once a peaceful countryside, filled with the sounds of children playing and farmers tending their fields, is now shrouded in uncertainty. The sky, once bright and open, is clouded by the haze of burning homes and the distant echo of explosions. For families living near the Thai border, home has become a front line. The familiar paths to school and market are now dangerous, and every day brings new risks. The border, which once meant opportunity and connection, now marks the edge of a conflict zone. Instead of waking to daily routines, people are jolted awake by artillery. The morning sun rises not to greet a new day, but to reveal the damage left behind by the night's violence. Sleep is a luxury, and every loud noise sends hearts racing. Their only instinct: grab loved ones and run. There's no time to gather memories or possessions, only a desperate rush to safety. The fear in parents' eyes is mirrored in their children, who cling tightly to their hands. This is no distant headline. It's a human tragedy unfolding in real time. The world watches through screens, but for these families the crisis is immediate and all-consuming. Every moment is a struggle to survive, to protect, to hope. The border, once a place of trade, is now a landscape of terror. Markets stand empty, their stalls abandoned. Military vehicles patrol where merchants once bargained, and the air is thick with tension. The sounds of life have been replaced by gunfire and the drone of aircraft. The laughter of children and the chatter of neighbors are drowned out by the chaos of war. Even the animals seem to sense the danger, fleeing alongside their human companions. The people fleeing aren't soldiers, they're farmers, shopkeepers, teachers. Ordinary lives, suddenly uprooted. They leave behind not just homes but entire communities, livelihoods, and dreams for the future. Their only crime, living in a place two governments are fighting over. They plead for mercy, for passage, for a chance to keep their families safe, caught in a conflict they never chose. They carry not just belongings but the crushing weight of uncertainty. Where will they sleep tonight? What will tomorrow bring? Every step forward is a step into the unknown. Will they ever return home? The question lingers in every glance back, every tear shed for what's been lost. Memories of laughter and love are now tinged with sorrow. Makeshift shelters offer little comfort. Tarps and thin blankets are poor protection against the elements, and the crowded camps are filled with uncertainty and fear. Families huddle on thin mats, sharing stories of escape, haunted by trauma. They find brief solace in each other's company, but the scars of what they've endured run deep. All they have left is each other and a flicker of hope that the violence will end. In the darkness they cling to small acts of kindness, to the belief that peace is still possible. But as the fighting rages, that hope fades, lost in the chaos of a senseless border war. The world may move on, but for these families the nightmare continues. Each day a battle to survive, and a prayer for peace. How does a tense border suddenly erupt into open conflict? Sometimes all it takes is a single spark, one event that sets off a chain reaction no one can control. In this case, it began with a single landmine, hidden in the dense undergrowth of a disputed border zone. Thai soldiers on a routine patrol through the thick jungle triggered the device. The explosion left several wounded, an incident that instantly raised tensions to a boiling point. In a region already on edge, this was the match tossed into a room full of gasoline. Instead of seeking calm, the Thai military responded with overwhelming force, launching artillery strikes across the border. Cambodia, feeling threatened, fired back with equal intensity. What could have been a contained incident quickly escalated. What started as a local incident spiraled into days of heavy fire and chaos, with both sides unleashing their full military might. Both governments claim they're only defending themselves, but the reality on the ground is far more tragic. Civilians are forced to flee their homes, caught in the relentless crossfire. The weaponry is terrifying. Artillery, rockets, mortars, even F-16 fighter jets and surveillance drones fill the skies, making escape nearly impossible. The conflict isn't limited to land. Cambodia alleges that Thai naval forces are threatening their positions along the Mekong River, raising fears of a wider confrontation. Meanwhile, Thailand hints at deploying cluster munitions, controversial weapons known for their devastating impact on civilians long after the fighting ends. Neither country has signed the international treaty banning these weapons, leaving civilians at even greater risk. Unexploded ordnance and landmines now litter the countryside, turning daily life into a deadly gamble. The initial landmine was just the trigger, an ominous warning of how quickly violence can spiral out of control. The real crisis is the unchecked escalation and the shocking disregard for civilian lives. Families are torn apart, homes destroyed, and entire communities displaced. This is no minor skirmish. It's a humanitarian disaster in the making. Aid workers struggle to reach those in need, and hospitals are overwhelmed by the wounded. The border dispute has transformed into a full-blown war zone, with entire villages burning and military convoys rolling through devastated landscapes. The world is watching as the violence spirals, hoping for a ceasefire, but fearing that the worst is yet to come. To understand this conflict, look back. The Cambodia-Thailand border has never been fully settled, fueling decades of tension. The Preah Vihear Temple, perched on a cliff, is the most bitter flashpoint, awarded to Cambodia in 1962, but the surrounding land remains disputed. This ambiguity has led to repeated clashes, most notably in 2008, with deadly consequences. The soldiers fighting today are often the sons of those who fought before, inheriting old grievances and nationalist fervor. For both countries, the border is a symbol of sovereignty and pride. Any perceived encroachment demands a forceful response. Compromise is nearly impossible. The past is never truly past here. The current violence is just the latest chapter in a long, painful history. In this conflict, truth is the first casualty. Cambodia and Thailand are locked in a war of words as fierce as the fighting itself. Each side claims to be the victim, accusing the other of aggression and atrocities. The blame game poisons any hope for negotiation. Ambassadors recalled, borders closed, trust shattered. Nationalist rhetoric rallies support at home and seeks sympathy abroad, but it deepens the divide. For civilians, these accusations are meaningless. Their reality is destruction and fear, no matter who fired first. Politicians argue, ordinary people suffer. The blame game is a luxury for leaders. Survival is the only concern for those on the border. The truth is lost amid the noise and peace slips further away. Behind the headlines are staggering numbers and shattered lives. Each statistic hides a story of fear, loss, and resilience. For every family forced to flee, there are memories left behind, homes abandoned, and futures suddenly uncertain. At least 33 dead, both soldiers and civilians. These are not just numbers, they are fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters whose lives were cut short in an instant. The pain of their absence ripples through entire communities. Over 168,000 people forced from their homes. Imagine entire towns emptied overnight, families carrying only what they can hold, searching for safety in unfamiliar places. Schools and hospitals closed, daily life in ruins. The places that once offered hope and healing now stand silent, their doors shut to those who need them most. Children's education and safety sacrificed for a disputed border. Instead of learning and playing, children now face uncertainty, fear, and the trauma of displacement. Aid agencies scramble to provide food, water, and shelter, but the needs are overwhelming. Every day brings new challenges: disease, hunger, and the struggle to maintain dignity in the face of chaos. Each statistic is a family torn apart, a future stolen. The emotional scars may last far longer than the conflict itself. One mother says, "We heard the shelling get closer. We just ran. We have nothing left." Her words echo the fear and desperation felt by thousands. For those in shelters, ancient disputes mean nothing. Their only concern is survival, finding food, warmth, and a sense of safety for their loved ones. Their questions are immediate. Will my children be safe? Will we have enough to eat? When will this nightmare end? Will we ever go home? The longing for normalcy and the ache of separation haunt every day spent in exile. They are the forgotten victims, paying the price for a conflict not of their making. Their suffering is often invisible, overshadowed by political headlines. While leaders trade accusations, ordinary people bear the cost. The decisions made in distant rooms have real, devastating consequences on the ground. The true toll is measured in broken lives, not territory. In the end, it is the human cost that lingers long after the headlines fade. As violence escalates, the international community urges calm, but with little effect. ASEAN, the regional bloc, calls for a ceasefire, but its non-interference policy limits real action. The UN echoes these calls, but statements carry little weight on the ground. Both sides set preconditions for talks, each blaming the other for the violence. Diplomacy stalls as fighting continues, and ASEAN's credibility is on the line. The world watches and talks, but for those under fire, these words are distant and powerless. Peace remains out of reach as the conflict rages on. As the conflict drags on, the risk of wider war grows. Each new attack increases pressure to escalate. Nationalism fuels the fire, making retreat politically dangerous for both sides. The heaviest burden falls on civilians. Homes destroyed, lives uprooted, futures uncertain. Over 168,000 people wait in crowded shelters, desperate for news, fearing what tomorrow brings. Even if a ceasefire comes, rebuilding lives and communities will take years. The scars of war run deep, long after the guns fall silent. For families caught in the middle, peace talks are distant abstractions. Their reality is fear and loss. Their suffering is a stark reminder of the true cost of war. The innocent always pay the highest price.